Evelyn Glennie is a British musician and composer. Evelyn was born in Aberdeen in Scotland. From the age of 8, she started to lose her hearing, and she's been profoundly deaf since the age of 12. Evelyn was learning the piano, but at 12, she decided she wanted to take up percussion, the first step in her journey to becoming the world's premier solo percussionist.
Well, to be a solo percussionist, of course, you need repertoire to play, and there was very little repertoire for solo percussion. So my main focus had to be targeting the composers and asking them to write pieces of music. Otherwise, there was not enough repertoire to sustain the career of a solo percussionist. And so that really was my main task. But I think a lot of people couldn't quite visualize what a solo percussionist could be. So to bring percussion from the back of the orchestra to the front of the orchestra, that took a little while for people to really think about and to visualize. But for me, it was very, very clear in my mind, but getting the repertoire was absolutely key.
With this in mind, Evelyn has commissioned over 200 new works for solo percussion. She performs these and other older works across the world, either solo or with other musicians and orchestras. She often performs barefoot in order to feel the music better.
I love the diversity of the types of performances I give. So sometimes they're by myself and sometimes they're with other people. I'm collaborating with different types of artists. So not necessarily musicians. They can be dancers, they can be visual artists, they can be storytellers, they can be sound designers and so on. And I love that combination, you know. I love the fact that when I'm performing by myself, I have absolute control over the sound that I'm creating at that time. I have control over how I want something to be interpreted. When you're with other people, of course there's got to be this give and take. That's what makes it special too. It's almost like having a conversation, and you can learn an awful lot when you're collaborating with other people.
Although her training was in classical music, Evelyn has also collaborated with a diverse range of other musicians, including the Icelandic singer Björk and the British rock guitarist Mark Knopfler. Throughout her career, Evelyn has collected percussion instruments from various countries and cultures, and some from closer to home, like this thunder sheet that Evelyn picked up from a nearby building site. In fact, she has so many that she can't store them all in her home studio.
Well, my collection of percussion instruments is around 2,000, bearing in mind that many of those instruments are quite small, so they can be handheld. And then, of course, we have much larger instruments, such as the marimba, the vibraphone, timpani, drum kit, gamelan, lots of different things like that. And each instrument is unique. It's almost like asking, what is your favorite child? And that's impossible, you know. So each instrument has a story. Each instrument just has its own unique sound world. And really, again, whichever instrument is in front of me, that's my favourite.
These instruments are not for show. Evelyn plays all the instruments in her collection and has recorded over 30 albums. She also composes music for percussion herself, both for classical performance and for the theatre, for film and TV, and for advertising.
I do compose music, and most of my compositions are related to media purposes, so for films, for radio, television, and so on. And that aspect I really love because I can use a lot of the more unusual instruments in my collection. And the thing about writing to what is mainly a picture, so it could be that you're writing for a detective drama series or a car advert or a milk advert or something, is that you have that visual aid, and it can just be a sound, a mood that you're creating that will make the difference in what you see and ultimately how engaged you become with that drama or advert or product. So it's a really different type of composition as opposed to writing for the concert platform. So I very much enjoy that with the types of tools that I have at my disposal.
Given the number of instruments she owns and the variety of instruments and things she plays, what instrument would she recommend to a beginner?
To advise someone as to which instrument would be good to start with, I think it depends on many aspects. The space they have, whether they're close to neighbours and so on. And obviously I'm referring to percussion. But I think it's important to find an instrument whereby all four limbs, your 2 arms, 2 legs, can participate in so that the body is completely balanced.
In 2012, Evelyn performed in the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in London, a high point for any performer. She has also been made a Dame and a Companion of Honour by the Queen. Although these are proud moments, she says she has many other career highlights.
You know, I remember playing to a group of 5-year-olds and giving my first workshop. It was a fantastic feeling, you know. I remember seeing my first ever solo recording and just handling that, having it in my hand. It was an amazing feeling. Or having the first copy of my autobiography. It was an amazing feeling, and it goes on and on like that. So all of those things are building blocks, really, but it's important to see the big picture, and ultimately a career is about hard work as well. It's about redefining yourself, it's about focus, visualizing, and that has to come from within.
Throughout her career, Evelyn has been the focus of attention due to the virtuosity of her playing, but she's also attracted attention because of her profound deafness. Her need to teach herself to listen again after she became deaf, and her experience as a musician and performer have prompted her to advocate listening as central to how humans interact through an initiative called Teach the World to Listen.
Well, to teach the world to listen really is realizing that listening is the glue. It's the glue that binds us together. And we often find that many of the challenges we might have in the home environment or in the work environment, socially and so on, they often break down, and it's often because of our listening skills. We just somehow don't know often how to listen. And listening isn't always about sound or reacting to sound. It's being present at that moment. It's being aware of our environment. So for example, if I'm sitting with someone who might have dementia, and there is no spoken word, there is no sound, but there's the presence there, that's an incredible thing. It's an incredible feeling, and that is a form of listening that binds two people together.